Yeah, my name's Chris Dickey. I'm the Director of Data Strategy here at the Martin Agency.
Great. And my first question is, what is the place of creativity in the age of analytics to you personally?
Yeah, it's garnered a lot of discussion, certainly here in the U.S. and globally. I think there's a misconception that one is going to displace the other or one controls the other, where the reality is, and certainly what's evolving in the agency, is that they work together symbiotically. The data and data-driven analysis can yield insights that help not only support creative, but also in some cases develop an aha that can be driven out to a campaign. Kinds of ahas that may or may not have come to you in other ways. The other side of it is that data allows us to listen to our customers in more intimate and unique ways than we were able to ever do before through social media, through online channels, through constant feedback and insight. We can really understand the conversation with the customer now to help us inform how creative strategies evolve.
So do you think there's a tension between creatives who may want to tell a story and the analysts who want to tell it like it is? How do you resolve those situations?
I don't know that there is. I would hope that for creatives, they always want to tell it like it is. I mean, that the best story is the story that's true, right? I think data gives us some, not going to say protection, but some leeway to put some ideas out there that might not have survived had the data not been there to back it up. I mean, many times clients are nervous about ideas that are out there or innovative or non-tried. And I think the data gives us some protection and some support to push those ideas in the marketplace and not let them die in the conference room.
The Martin Agency's famous Virginia Beach is for lovers has been around for 40 years now, and this ad is still running. So how is analytics informing this wonderful campaign now?
Yeah, it's funny. I think Kim had sent that. That's something that our chief creative officer had developed in the 70s, and it is a well-loved campaign. We actually don't have anything to do with it. The state of Virginia now owns that and continues to run it, and it continues to do well, and it is a loved campaign. What we're famous for now is a lot of the Geico Gecko work here in the States, and that's work that is very much driven and used through data. They understand through all the different creative concepts what's driving their business, what's resonating with consumers, and kind of how to play out all those different campaigns. Many times we're asked, how do you do so many different campaigns for Geico and have them all work to drive the business? And that's because there's an underlying analytic structure to everything that the agency does.
Can you give us a few examples where analytics improved one of your campaigns? How has it helped your clients like Pizza Hut, Walmart, or Norwegian Cruise Lines?
Yeah, I don't know that it's necessarily impacted all of them directly. I think with Norwegian, some data work that we did allowed us to explore some new channels on the social and digital space that allowed us to reach new audiences. The data uncovered some areas of insight that allowed us to go test and learn in those areas. We have clients like BFG where we uncovered that there was a unique segment that was underserved in the marketplace. And then through social media, we were able to go out and build a very robust campaign using Sean White. That was a fully viral campaign and was out there. And, once it caught fire in the social space, it had a ton of customer feedback and became very likable. And then we built upon that over time. So, I think the data gives us a lot of either insight about what the customers are talking, how they feel about the brand, what they're talking about. It uncovers business opportunities that we're able to capitalize on through advertising. It also gives us feedback from the marketplace on what's resonating, where should we build the story versus just tell the story in different places.
So what are other exciting ways you're using data as a storyteller?
I think one way is that, again, through social analytics and social analysis, we can understand how the consumer is not only reacting to the advertising that's in the marketplace, but many times they have great ideas that help us build out our story over time. We look at it and we call it specifically story building here because we believe that ultimately that the story is is something that the consumer owns and that they can build upon it. They can take it to new places. And I think you're seeing more and more of that in the marketplace now, where the consumers that are very much advocates and loyalists of the brand will help drive that story themselves.
So despite all the advances in analytics, does a great campaign still come down to a big idea and some intuition and luck?
I think those are always going to be components. I think one thing we like to talk about here is maybe instead of the big idea, it's a lot of really great ideas that we see in the marketplace. We get that consumer feedback from, and then we build upon it. I think in some cases, you can't always drive the big idea. It's not always going to be the big aha moment. But through data and analytics, you might find 4 or 5 really great ideas that become a big idea and a big campaign over time.
So what do you wish clients and creatives would understand about what you do exactly?
I think on the client side, I wish they would understand that data is not definitive, that it's decision support. It gives them perspective. It gives them some flexibility, but it's not going to tell them the answer. I think many times they want the answer just so they can take it up the chain or walk into the boardroom or the CEO and say, here it is. It's never going to be that definitive. It's a support system. I think for creatives, the conversation needs to get away from data being restrictive and their ideas dying through copy testing, a lot of old techniques, and start thinking about how can data support them and give them that support to take these ideas out into the marketplace and let them test and learn from them. And I think that's going to give them a lot of future freedom to really build some really great ideas that may have otherwise died on the conference room or the boardroom table.
And when it comes to data analysts, what's their biggest problem when they navigate the worlds of creativity, marketing, and advertising?
I think there's two things. I think the first thing is that when you're a data analyst, especially in a creative environment like an agency, there's some belief that you're not creative. And some of the most creative people I meet on a regular basis are my data analysts, people I work with on a regular basis, because they still have to be creative in uncovering insights from the data. You don't just run a spreadsheet and it gives you the big aha itself. You have to really think creatively about how you use that data. I think the other thing is to get the data analyst involved in the conversation early. Many times what happens, especially in marketing and agencies, is the data analyst isn't contacted until the campaign runs and the account team may come out and say, hey, did it work? Had you asked us at the front end to really help build out a support system for you, and we may have already been able to tell you at this point in time, is it working? Is it not working? Is it doing the job that it needed to do? But bringing us in at that very last moment becomes problematic for us to answer some of those questions.
Can you tell us about a cool or fun data set you're using in your work?
One of the cool ones we have right now is a tool called Brand Index, and it gives us real-time brand health data. So we can literally run a campaign and go out to this tool. They're doing real-time customer surveys, and we can find out within hours how people are starting to react to the campaign or to changes in the brand health in terms of awareness or purchase intent or intent to talk about the campaigns with friends, family, and followers. So we're almost to the point now where we can get that instant feedback, where in many cases it used to be months, if not quarters, before we get any feedback on a campaign.
And where are some of the trends that you see coming from for analytics in the agency space?
I think slowly but surely it's gonna find a nice equilibrium. There's still many agencies in the marketplace that don't have core data analytics embedded into the teams or within the agency. I think there's many times where the consulting firms, their clients are doing some of the work, and that really does a bit of a disservice to the agency because we don't know some of those insights when we're developing our own campaign. So I see many agencies really trying to build more robust data analytics into their core environment, but it's also difficult for them. Just like it was difficult 10 years ago to bring in digital experts, it's difficult for them to really change the environment for data experts. So it will be an evolution over time.
Well, Chris Dickey, SVP-Director of Data Strategy at the marketing agency. Many thanks for your time.
You bet. Thank you.